Okay. Ashley, thank you so much for joining the Refrigerant 365 podcast. It's definitely an honor and privilege to have you on as a seasoned HVAC sales and marketing specialist in the industry. And so thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here. It's been a while since I've done a podcast, so excited to get back into it and chat about all things HVAC/social.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been following you online for quite some time, so I'm really happy to finally connect. And so I'm kind of curious, like, how did you get into the world of HVACR?
Yeah, it's everyone's like, "Oh, did you have family in the industry?" Nope. It's very random, honestly. It was kind of an accident. I had always been in sales and marketing in my previous jobs, and I took what I call a semi-retirement, and I left and didn't work for like 3 years and just traveled around the world. And when I came back, I was like really struggling to find a job, and I had a friend who was in this industry, and they were looking for some sales help. And she was like, "I don't know if you'll like it, but like it's a job." And at that point, I was like, "Okay, I need money, sure." Not really thinking about it. And then I was with that company for 5 years, and now I've been in the industry for almost 8. So I guess it was okay.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's almost like 10 years of
Yeah.
in doing HVAC sales and marketing. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
no, definitely not something I would have ever thought about or like had on my like radar, honestly. But I mean, let's be real, it's a good industry. It's not going anywhere. Plenty of money to be made. Recession proof, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. And I feel like we need more people like yourself that might have not been aware of it and are entering it for like the first generation, right? Because it's like we do have a lot of people that are just like born into it or they have family in it. But people that find it by themselves is definitely unique.
Absolutely. I think we need more people in general. I think we need more females. I think we need more everything, honestly, right? We're getting better. I think even just in the few years that I've been in this industry, I've seen a lot more women, which is awesome. I think we bring a little bit something different to the table than the men do. And obviously, I think everyone is kind of aware of the shortage that we're going to be facing in a couple of years when all of the older generation starts to retire. So it's good. It's good to get the fresh blood, the younger generation into this industry as things start to shift and change. So yeah, nothing but up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, your social media following is quite impressive, and that's something that really caught my attention when I joined Instagram, like back in 2020. So I'm kind of curious, what made you like, you entered HVACR, and then you somehow found like your this social media following, and I'm just curious about that as well.
Yeah, also kind of random. I had asked my previous company, and I was like, "Hey, I think that there's, an opportunity here
Mhm.
for us to get on Instagram," which is what I started with, and promote. And at that time, it was COVID. And so we're all just sitting at home, and like as a salesperson, it's hard to sell from your house. Like you're making calls, but a wholesaler's not picking up the phone to be like, let me listen to you for 30 minutes while you talk about your product. So they actually told me no. They were like, no, we don't think so. I don't think it's a good idea. Too much liability. And I ignored that and I just did it anyways and didn't tell anyone. and and I was just kind of doing it from my apartment at that time. I had my products and I was just talking about my stuff in my apartment. And it picked up some like decent traction pretty quickly, like way more than I thought it would. Cause in my head, I'm also like, why are these people listening to me? I'm just a girl on the internet talking about capacitors. And I got some like really awesome people who were super supportive and would like repost stuff for me and were just, I don't know, very supportive. And so once it started doing well, then I finally went back to the company and was like, hey, so I ignored your no. but here's how it's playing out. And so after that, it actually was kind of a hit. I ended up training everyone in our company on how to utilize social. And now they have a bunch of team members who are on social, using it. So I also think like we were kind of the first people on like the manufacturing like side to really get into social. Like there wasn't really anyone else doing what I was doing because I wasn't a brand, right? I wasn't the brand. I was a salesperson, and that didn't exist. So I guess I do kind of feel like I was one of the first ones, and then I started seeing more and more people doing it, right? Because social is about engagement, and so like the more people on your team that you have talking about your product, the better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It seems like you broke some barriers though, because they were like, no, and then you actually like, well, just try it out myself.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to ask for like, I'm going to say yes. They're going to, so you actually convince them that this is a good idea, and you actually became like the trainer for your sales team.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
It's a
really
cool
Yeah.
moment. And I think that like speaks to, sometimes we need change. Like sometimes you have to do something differently than you did it before in order to get a desired outcome. And now look at it. Social is huge in our space and everyone is getting on board with it. I think the HVAC industry in general has been kind of behind in a lot of aspects, especially with marketing. So it's cool to see like now we have these, influencer meetups, and we have the HVAC Tactical Awards that is totally dedicated to, people on social doing cool things. So yeah, it's cool to see how far it's come just over a few years. I mean, we're like look at Jeff Dem. He's got, I don't know, 200 and some odd thousand followers, and he's posting what he does every day. And like, that's cool.
Yeah. So do you think it's becoming like an integral part of like a sales role in the industry? You think eventually, or now, or currently?
Yeah, so I think it is an important part. I think at the bare minimum, you need to have your brand on social. I
Okay.
think it's a lot harder to have individuals because I've
Mhm.
noticed most people don't want to be on camera. Most people don't want to be on social. They don't have, it takes a certain type of person who is willing to put themselves out there because it's tough, right? So I think as a brand, it's necessary. They've done a lot of studies like on the marketing side of things about how people are searching and discovering brands now. And social is a big thing. AI, ChatGPT, people are searching within there instead of hitting up Google. So
Right.
that the market is shifting. Things are going to change a lot, I think, over the next 10 years or so. So the more places that you can get yourself and your business out there, the better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it seems like there's like a couple of buckets. Personally, it seems like the social media really helped propel your career in some shape or form, correct? I mean,
Mhm.
like you took a risk and it really worked out in your favor, which is really awesome because you could have just went totally fear-based and like they're saying like, right, or you like took the risk and showcased that, hey, this is actually a really successful channel to showcase and be a brand advocate.
Mhm.
And that's really inspiring. Second of all, though, it's also that it's helping, I guess, train, right? Like the technicians
Yeah.
and getting the word out there about like what you're currently doing, which by the way, you're working with a chemical manufacturer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's another avenue for education. That is technically part of my role at
Okay.
Viper is I'm the director of education and brand management. But yeah, it's another avenue for me to be able to talk about like how do you handle the chemicals? How do you know what chemical is a good chemical? When
Mhm.
should I be using them? When shouldn't I be? We do a lot of stuff on safety just because people don't like to read labels or manuals. So, I think videos are a little bit videos are a little bit easier to, put in front of somebody and have them actually listen and understand versus like, hey, go read the back of this. Not to call out anyone, but
Right. So I mean, you think that are you one of the like your company? Are you guys like really blazing the trail in terms of like social media and education for these kind of like chemical related issues? Like, is there anyone else out there that's really doing what y'all are doing right now, you
Yeah,
think?
I mean, I would say no. I
Okay.
think I think we do a really good job. And we're a small team. So like from the marketing perspective, it's myself and it's Becca. And Becca is like the brand. So she's behind the Refrigeration Technologies page. So she's the one who's in there responding, right? And
Okay.
then I run my own HVAC Ash page, is like I call it like an internal brand ambassador almost, right?
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, there are very few brands that are doing what we're doing. And I'm going to venture to say, without like making any digs at anyone, there's no other chemical company that's doing what we're doing. And I also think because we are a little bit smaller, we're a family owned company. We're not corporate, so we have a little bit more leeway in some of the things that we can do and how we approach things. We like to be, a little edgy, and we're good with that. But I think that kind of speaks towards our market, right? Um, you got a bunch of blue collar guys, so they kind of appreciate some of the
Yeah.
fun stuff that we say and do.
Yes, I have noticed the common theme of being a little edgy and risk taking with y'all's content, which is definitely, again, it's inspiring. It's bold. It's very bold of you guys, though. At the same, yeah, it's different. It's very different.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think it's, being a female in this industry isn't always like sunshine and rainbows. Like you definitely have some hard spots. So it's very humbling, and I really appreciate when someone says like, "Oh, what you're doing is inspiring," right? Because like I'm just posting on social media, like I'm just doing my job. But like when someone says something like that, it's like, "Oh, wow, that's cool," like the fact
Yeah.
that somebody thinks it's inspiring or that I'm making a difference. It means a lot to me. I think that's, I think everyone wants to feel like they're making a difference.
Oh yeah, I think you definitely are. And what is your following like account now?
I try not to look at it,
Okay.
honestly.
Okay.
But we're probably close to 9,000 close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's
On
awesome.
Instagram. I don't know about the other ones because I don't look.
We talked a little bit about the training of the current workforce. Do you also see that social is helping like get others into the industry as well? Like, do you have any examples of that?
Yes, I do think because social is more accessible to people,
Hmm.
right? I think it makes it like visible.
Hmm.
Right? Anyone can just jump on and see a random video on their For You page. So I think that definitely helps. I think we haven't, as an industry, done a great job about being in front of kids who are at the right age. A majority of my following, and I think across Instagram in general, is in the 24 to 44 range. And that's like two age groups, but that's
Hmm.
like 75% of my followers are in that group. So we could really be reaching, some young 20s who haven't really decided what they want to do. Maybe they're testing stuff out, and like if they could see some fun content, right? Or something funny about HVAC, maybe they'd be like, "Oh, well that's an option now." I have had a couple of girls who are like, "I'm thinking about, going into the HVAC industry. What would you recommend? Do you think I should do it?" And I'm like, absolutely. You should absolutely do it. Like we need more. We need more of you. And I think when you think about the trades, you think in this field, right? But there's so much more available, right? Like you want to do marketing, you can do marketing. You want to do
Hmm.
sales, you can do sales. You don't have to be like in the attic actually fixing the equipment. There's so many avenues. And even within that, it's like you could work for a wholesaler, you could work for a manufacturer, you could work for a contractor. Like there's so much in there that, we need people for. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you always been on the manufacturing side for the past 8 years?
yeah. So I worked for a master distributor, but they were also a manufacturer, and
Okay.
then manufacturing now. So yes, same stream. I think it makes it easy when you already kind of, know it.
Yeah, I mean, so a reoccurring topic for you guys is definitely like the health and safety issues. Curious as to what people like, what kind of what that is specifically, like that you would be talking about reoccurring.
Yeah. So unfortunately, chemicals in this space, like if we're talking about coil cleaners, they have predominantly been very corrosive, very hazardous, things that you really should not be touching without like gloves, things that should not be going in anyone's yard, things that really shouldn't be on the equipment because it's actually removing layers off of the coil. So we talk a lot about like how to identify what is a safe chemical, how to know when you should be using chemicals, when you shouldn't be using chemicals. So how to read the labels on the back, how to which symbols equal what. If you do have to use a hazardous chemical, how do you do that, right? What's the safety precautions that I should be taking? So a lot in that kind of frame.
2026 looking like for Ashley?
It's looking busy. I love AHR, honestly. I think just because it's like everyone goes, like it's the
Yeah,
big one. So we lovingly refer to it as the Super Bowl of HVAC.
yeah, yeah.
But and we always try to put on some fun events during the show. So we'll have something fun and crazy cooking up. We are in the process of completely redesigning our booth, and we have some really cool stuff coming. I'm really, really excited about it.
Oh,
And
cool.
then I'm also partial to the HVAC Tactical Awards, which happened the night before because I get to work the red carpet and talk to everybody who's all dressed up. So that's super fun for me because let's face it, we're not normally black tie in this industry.
Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably my favorite, but we'll have a lot of stuff going on. We do the HVAC Excellence Conference every year, which is all targeted around education. We will, what else are we doing? We always do the Women in HVAC, which is next week, but we'll do that again next year. So that's always nice to kind of chat with other women in the space because sometimes you just don't get as much of that as you would like.
Well, at least you have you work with Becca, like, so you guys are a really strong female team. So
Yeah.
that really helps just working with someone that really, y'all are each other's advocates. So that's
Mhm.
great. Um, yeah, no, I mean, it sounds like you have a really action packed 2026. You mentioned the HVAC Tactical Awards several times in our conversation. And I know that's definitely something that's taking the industry by storm. Like, I mean, it really showcases how much social media has made an impact to the industry. And it seems like you are a real big fan of the awards.
I am. When I was talking about like support, when I first started my account, Ben, who is the creator of the HVAC Tactical Award Show and just the brand in general, he was super supportive and I like really appreciated that. And, anytime I'd have like a rough spot, I could call Ben and Ben would be like, okay, you should try this and this and this, and I think that we need that, right? Everyone needs that.
Yeah.
Everyone needs that kind of sense of community. And I feel like he's done a really good job at building a community within this space. And I think he's, really respected as an individual. And to be able to bring together. So I went to the first show, which was in Vegas 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago. So I went to the first show and it was like 50 people. And now it's like 400 people. So to see the
Wow.
growth,
Yeah.
yeah, to see the growth and to see, it like it's on a live stream and the people are paying money for the tickets and it's cool to watch something like that evolve in this space.
No, it definitely is. And I'm just surprised to see how quickly it sells out each year. Like, it seems like it's just, and we've got like several, I think, news publications that also major news, like ACHR News, I think is also like part of the press now at the show. And I mean, people like yourself. So yeah, it's definitely good to see that sense of community and something for technicians. Cause obviously
Yes.
the big focus is always like on the manufacturer,
Yeah.
but it's good to see that there's like that for the technicians and skilled trade.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think the techs kind of get left out for whatever reason. I'm like, these are the guys that are, the blood, sweat, and tears. They're out there. Without them, we have nothing, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
they are super important and they deserve to be celebrated and honored because I'm not getting in an attic.
Oh, that's funny. What are you looking forward to in the industry in the next 5 years?
Ooh, honestly, I feel like anything and everything is possible. I feel like so
Okay.
much could change because all of the regulation changes. I know that you obviously have been dealing with all of that stuff and keeping people educated on the refrigerants. Um, I think again, there's going to be a big shift of power from some of the older guys that are going to be retiring into the newer guys. I think we're going to see, I mean, we already are seeing way more AI in this space. So it's interesting to see how, the contractors are utilizing AI, how wholesalers are utilizing AI. That's what interests me the most, honestly, the AI stuff. I'm super curious about all that. I think it's really cool and really scary at the same time. but
Yeah, no, I have someone I think I just recently was like interviewed on the podcast, and they were like really into the AI stuff and like how much it's going to be able to like train technicians. And I'm like, okay, it's like
yeah,
there's a lot to it to unpack, but I think it's really good to keep the human side, like with
yes.
what you're doing and social, and that I think that the industry will always have a very strong like personal relationship building to it, which that feels good because I don't think we all want to talk to robots.
Correct. And I will say, I feel like this industry will probably be one of the slowest to change solely because we're really resistant. The
Yeah,
industry in general is resistant to change. Um, and I just feel like it's going to be way harder for AI or a robot to come in and say, I'm going to, fix your air conditioning unit. I think could be cool for diagnostic purposes, right?
yeah, absolutely. Or helping people that are like low, like level one technicians. If there's like a shortage of like the higher, like people with more certifications, it could help like companies that might need to train them
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I definitely think that there's more like a sales, like social selling is the relationship building that we do in the sales world. That's kind of not going to be easily replaced. Ashley, how can people keep updated with what you're doing and what your company is doing?
So you can give us a follow. We are on basically every social platform. The company is at Refrigeration Technologies. Mine is all going to be HVAC_Ash or my full name if you're looking for a LinkedIn connection, which is just Ashley Lynds.
Ashley, thank you so much for your time and joining the Refrigerant 365 podcast. Until next time, stay cool.
Awesome. It's been fun.
Okay, great.